Hey there, my amazing angling friends. Welcome back to the channel, your go-to spot for everything fishing. I'm your host, and I've got some absolutely fantastic news for you as we dive headfirst into the prime time of fall fishing. We're talking about the week of September 22nd to September 28th, 2025, a period that promises some truly memorable moments on the water across our beautiful Canadian landscapes. This isn't just any week, folks. It's a pivotal time where the fish really start to feel that autumn chill and ramp up their feeding activity in preparation for the colder months ahead. You're about to discover why this week could be one of your best chances yet to land that trophy fish, and I'll arm you with all the knowledge you need to make it happen. I'll share specific tactics, the best spots, and exactly what baits to use, all based on the conditions we're expecting. Get ready, because this forecast is packed with practical tips that will absolutely change your approach this fall. Now let's talk about some of our favorite Canadian fighters and how to target them this week. Based on typical late September conditions across much of Canada, many species are entering their pre-winter feeding frenzy. First up, the mighty northern pike. These toothy predators are going to be on the hunt big time. As the water temperatures begin to drop, pike become incredibly aggressive and move into shallower areas to ambush baitfish. Where to find them, you ask? Look for them lurking around the edges of dying weed beds, especially in bays that still get a good amount of sunlight. They'll also be holding near drop-offs where they can quickly move into deeper water if needed, but still dart out to grab an easy meal. Focus on areas with good cover like submerged timber or rocky outcrops. On what to catch them. For pike this week, I'd strongly recommend casting large spoons, particularly in silver, gold, or fire tiger patterns. Think 5 to 7 inches. Big crankbaits, especially those with a wide wobble and a diving depth of 6 to 10 feet, will also be deadly. Don't shy away from using big, soft plastic swim baits, rigged weedless, especially in areas with remaining weeds. Slow retrieves often trigger bites from these cooler water giants. Remember, presentation is key. Make that lure look like a struggling baitfish and a pike won't be able to resist. Next, let's talk about the incredibly popular walleye. These delicious fish are also getting ready for winter, which means they're actively feeding and often congregating. During this period, walleye will typically be found on deep water structures. Think rocky humps, submerged islands, and deep points that drop off into 20 to 40 feet of water. They'll also be holding along current seams in rivers or deeper sections of large lakes. The cooling water can often make them more predictable. So what's the magic bait? Jigs are your best friend for walleye right now. Pair a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce jig with a 4-inch soft plastic grub or a live minnow. Jig it slowly along the bottom, feeling for those subtle taps. Trolling crankbaits that mimic baitfish and run at depths of 15 to 25 feet can also be incredibly effective, especially in stained water. Blade baits vertically jigged over structure can also provoke a reaction strike. Pay close attention to your electronics to locate schools of baitfish, because that's where the walleye will be concentrated. Beyond pike and walleye, don't forget about wise smallmouth bass. While some might be heading deeper, the larger smallmouth will still be aggressively feeding, especially on transition areas like rocky points and gravel flats adjacent to deeper water. Jigs, tubes, and suspending jerkbaits can be very effective for these hard-fighting fish. Also, keep an eye out for lake trout and brook trout in their respective habitats. Lake trout in deeper, cold water will be active on deep structure, while brook trout in cooler streams and lakes will be feeding actively, often near cover. All right, let's dig into the nitty-gritty of what the environment is bringing us this week. This is where the real science and my years of experience come together to give you the edge. Remember, precise daily forecasts for September 2025 across all of Canada are not available this far in advance, so I'm basing this on typical historical patterns for late September in Canadian fishing regions, combined with general climate trends. Weather. We're expecting a classic Canadian fall transition this week. will likely start with relatively mild conditions, perhaps around 15 to 18 degrees Celsius on Monday, but a distinct cooling trend will set in as the week progresses. Atmospheric pressure will probably start high and stable, which is generally good for fishing. However, by midweek, let's anticipate a frontal system rolling through, bringing with it a drop in atmospheric pressure, increased winds and some precipitation, likely rain, especially over eastern Canada and the Great Lakes region. Winds could shift from light southerly to stronger northerly or westerly winds, which will certainly affect wave action and where fish choose to hold. Following this front, pressure should begin to stabilize and rise again towards the weekend, accompanied by clearer but colder air. These pressure fluctuations are key. A falling barometer often triggers a feeding frenzy just before the weather turns, while a rapidly rising barometer can slow the bite as fish adjust. Water temperature. This is crucial. As September gives way to October, water temperatures across Canadian lakes and rivers will be steadily cooling. We can expect surface temperatures to be in the range of 12 to 15 degrees Celsius at the start of the week, gradually dropping to 10 to 12 degrees Celsius by the weekend. This cooling trend is fantastic for many cold water species and also invigorates warm water species for their fall feed. In some shallower lakes, we might even see the beginning of fall turnover, where the water layers mix. This can initially slow the bite as fish get disoriented, but once it settles, it often concentrates bait fish and predators. Moon phase. My friends, this week brings us a very interesting lunar cycle. On Monday, September 22nd, we have a new moon, which occurs at 7:54 a.m. This is fantastic news for us anglers. The new moon phase, with its dark nights, often means that predatory fish, like pike and walleye, feed more actively during daylight hours. Also, the combined gravitational pull of the sun and moon during the new moon results in stronger tides and currents, especially in larger water bodies, which can stir up more food and trigger better feeding opportunities. As the week progresses, we'll move into a waxing crescent phase, with the moon's illumination slowly increasing each day. While the peak new moon bite will be early in the week, the increasing light throughout the week will still present good opportunities. Overall fish activity. Considering all these factors, the general activity of fish this week in Canada is expected to be high. We are right in the heart of the fall feeding period. Fish are bulking up, packing on fat reserves for the lean winter months. This means they're often more aggressive, less finicky, and willing to chase down a meal. Expect active periods, especially around dawn and dusk, but also during the day, as the new moon and cooling water stimulate feeding. Some species might be slightly more sensitive to the midweek frontal passage, but overall, it's a prime time to be on the water. Now, for the daily breakdown, this is where we get specific. Remember, these are my expert projections based on the typical fall conditions and the lunar cycle we've discussed. Monday, September 22nd. Get ready, because today looks like an excellent day for fishing. It's the new moon, and with stable atmospheric pressure and relatively mild temperatures of around 15 to 18 degrees Celsius, the fish should be highly active. Target those transition zones for pike and walleye. Tuesday, September 23rd. Another good day, though, with temperatures beginning a slight cooling trend, perhaps dropping a couple of degrees. The waxing crescent moon is still young, and the stable conditions from Monday should carry over, maintaining a strong bite. Focus on similar patterns as Monday, perhaps with slightly slower retrieves as the water cools. Wednesday, September 24th. This might be a tricky one, friends. We're forecasting a frontal passage with dropping atmospheric pressure, increased wind, and likely rain. Temperatures could drop significantly to 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. The bite might be fickle just before and during the worst of the weather, as fish adjust to the rapid changes. Consider fishing deeper or closer to heavy cover. Thursday, September 25th. The weather should be clearing after the front, but it will be noticeably colder, perhaps 7 to 10 degrees Celsius, with potentially strong northerly winds. Atmospheric pressure will be stabilizing and beginning to rise. The bite will likely be average as fish recover and adapt. Those willing to brave the cold and wind might find some aggressive fish hitting after the stormy conditions. Friday, September 26th. Conditions should be improving significantly. Colder but stable air, rising pressure, and diminishing winds. Temperatures could be around 8 to 11 degrees Celsius. This is often when a post-front feeding window opens up. Expect a good to very good bite as fish become active again in the stable, colder water. Saturday, September 27th. A fantastic day for fishing. Stable, crisp fall weather with temperatures around 8 to 12 degrees Celsius and steady pressure. The waxing crescent moon will be more prominent. This is a day to be on the water from dawn till dusk. Excellent conditions for a consistent bite across many species. Sunday, September 28th. We close the week with another solid day. Temperatures will remain cool, around 7 to 11 degrees Celsius with stable pressure. The fishing should continue to be good, offering another great opportunity to land some impressive fish before the real cold sets in. There you have it, my friends. Your ultimate guide to fishing in Canada this week, from September 22nd to September 28th, 2025. I genuinely hope this forecast helps you put more fish in the boat and create some unforgettable memories on the water. Remember, stay safe, dress for the conditions, and always respect our incredible natural resources. So until next time, tight lines, everyone. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on my fishing insights. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments below. What are your plans for this week? What species are you targeting? And what's your go-to fall lure? Share your stories and tips. Let's build this community together. Good luck out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.